Hey everyone, Ian Buster Green here, and I got another subscriber yesterday, so now I'm only 91 subscribers from getting monetized. Yes sir, 91. Same year the Gulf War ended. Anyway, today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm gonna drop a really quick random review for Rilakkuma theme park adventure. I really wasn't expecting to review this one, but I watched it and it ended up being really way better than I thought it would be. It kind of moved me somehow. Okay, quick story on Rilakkuma as I understand him. Rilakkuma is pretty much a cute, stupid mascot character designed in the mid-2000s Japanese mascot boom. His name in Japanese roughly translates to the relaxing bear. And suspiciously, he has a zipper on his back, which has led to a long-running debate of, is he a toy bear or is he a creepy old bastard in a furry costume? Ooh, fantastic. Someone thinks he might be the Terminator. But look, you can clearly see someone's wearing a shirt in this costume, so he's gotta be some creeper staying with Kaoru and deceiving her into thinking he's a bear. Now I'm actually really disturbed about him. Anyway, since Rilakkuma has a definitive Japanese appearance, he's been pretty widely adopted by wee girls all over the world who just think he's cute. Now, his popularity and merch sales have been going up over the years. In 2019, Netflix put out the first Rilakkuma series, Rilakkuma and Kaoru, based on Rilakkuma's big canonical backstory that he lives with some random lazy Japanese chick named Kaoru. Kaoru is kind of like his mom, or maybe she's just an office lady he moved in with, but she's basically his mom. Anyway, I quick binged the show when it came out, and it was a nothing show. I just passed through it. The best way I can describe it is it's a meaningless kind of artsy stop motion show just for the sake of art existing. It has no stakes, it has a nonsensical vibe. It's a lot like the old Domokun stop motion shorts, or even to a certain extent like a filler episode of Gumby. It's just this dumb, chill claymation show about literally nothing. Now this week, the second season, actually what I thought was the second season of Rilakkuma and Kaoru came out, but it's actually not a second season. It's more like a sequel conclusion movie that you can also watch as episodes because Netflix has been doing this really slutty thing lately where they've been taking content that was obviously intended to be movies and carving it out based on individual scenes to be TV episodes or in some cases micro episodes so they can just ship it as a series. The first time I really noticed them doing this was with Rowan Atkinson's Brilliant Man vs. Bee, which was clearly intended to be a movie, advertised as a movie, developed as a movie for nearly fucking 20 years, but then Netflix released it as a series at the last second, with every 10 minutes of the film chopped out into a micro episode. So it's less of a series and more of a movie with DVD cutscenes of all the scenes cut out. Anyway, yeah, back to Rilakkuma Theme Park Adventure. Somehow this movie is just a lot better than Rilakkuma and Kaoru. Because it doesn't have as much random goofy crap. I mean, it still has some parts where it's just look, it's stop motion, you gotta love it. But actually, this time around, there's actually a meaningful, real story with a point. Okay, so the general plot in a nutshell is that Rilakkuma goes to a theme park that is on the cusp of going out of business, and Kaoru actually does not go with him because she gets stuck on a bus and she has to fill out some legal documents. She has her own separate side story, and then she gets lost for a while, so it takes her forever to get to the theme park. And yeah, they basically remove Kaoru from the story while also giving her her own story of being a woman trapped in the stressful quagmire of the Japanese legal system for no reason. I guess I kind of get this. I think Kaoru's an okay character, but since she's essentially Rilakkuma's mom, I figure they have to take her away to let him fully go nuts. Then as Rilakkuma goes across the theme park, he makes friends with a bunch of random kids who replace Kaoru's role as the sentient talking human. Oh, and one of the kids has this really stupid, weird backstory that she's trying to become a professional Nintendo Switch player. That's super random. What's she gonna do, Splatoon? Anyway, so as the story goes along, they get into what the movie is really about, and there's all these really interesting and really sad stories about all the different people who worked at the theme park. A lot of them are actually just their biographies and what they did and how much work they did for the place and how important or maybe not important all their jobs were to keeping the theme park alive. And it honestly gets really, really sad. It's not Death of a Salesman sad, but it really captures the same spirit of the futility of working life, the brutality of capitalism. It paints this like shockingly vivid picture of this mismatched collection of super important employees who just gave their adult lives in like this futile pursuit of magic and family fun. The people who really chose to be there, who were the bleeding heart and soul of this random theme park. Like, there's a story about the animatronic guy who spent like his entire adult life trying to keep the rides running perfectly for decades, literally decades. Like, he had to develop all these unique systems to keep everything running. He developed his own unique little robots and like all these cute little things, and all these moments gone like tears in the rain. There's also this clown who just kind of was bad at his job, and then it all really culminates in this really tragic and moving analysis of like the hardest work in the park, who basically just single-handedly kept the park open because she just loved the park and felt like it was her responsibility to protect it. There's also this random idol storyline tied to the park because it's Japan, of course there's a fucking idol. The idol storyline actually super reminded me of a very similar idol storyline that just finished in Kamen Rider W Fudo Detectives this week. Although like a much more G-rated version of that, because in Fudo PIs there was like a bugman trying to kill the idol. Anyway, the crazy thing is that at the end of the movie, like in any other kids movie or any other American movie, like there would have been this stupid miracle that saved the park from going out of business, but that is not this movie. This theme park straight up fails and you watch it happen. It's so weird. Like, by the end of the movie, the park is just a lost cause. Everything is too broken. There's no money to fix anything. Like, they're barely keeping the lights on. It's this really sad portrait of how these employees just struggle to get through their last days of work knowing the end is inevitable. And yeah, something about that moved me because it was just really real. Like, about a year ago, I watched this sad as fuck documentary on Amazon called Jasper Mall. It almost had the same vibe, but without the J-pop songs and the cute claymation visuals. And I can relate, because I've seen this shit go down in real life. Like, a few years back, the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus had to get rid of all their circus animals because I want to say they got, like, narked on by, like, PETA, or, like, there were too many complaints or something. And then, like, within like a year or two, I want to say they've completely gone under because of this. And they had this big sad announcement that they were shutting down, and they begged people to come in and watch their final shows. And so then my girlfriend at the time, she had a soft spot for the circus because I guess she grew up with it and she really loved it. So she talked me into going to their last show, and Jesus Christ, it was just such a shit show, man. Like, instead of lions and tigers, they just had like dogs. There were no elephants. The clowns were still there. They just had cut their budget so much that they were barely keeping the lights on. So all they really had left were like some bad jokes from like the 20s. They had their car. They had their like spray bottle spraying people with water. They did a few like basic high wire flippy dippy tricks, but that was it. Like, it was fucking depressing, man, because I remember being a kid and like seeing what a proper circus was. This was like the circus equivalent of like going to Kmart in the last year they were still a thing, or like you'd gone to the same building and the same store you'd always like gone to, but they literally had fucking nothing you wanted. It was just like empty shelves, except it was a circus. So yeah, that was strangely relatable. And on top of that, it's strangely relatable because the pandemic has just fucked up the entertainment industry like all over the world. Like, live theater is still having a really hard time like restarting anywhere, even in like New York, where like that's the heart of the industry. The film industry is still floundering and people are just so depressed on that front. And really bringing it home with the whole theme park thing, I recently found out that Six Flags is actually fully in danger of going bankrupt again because Warner Brothers, their parent company, is just completely fucked right now by the Discovery merger. And apparently their current CEO apparently does not know how to run a theme park. So attendance numbers are way down because of COVID. But then to try and make up for that, they've been like way too aggressively price gouging to try and like cover their like losses, and it's not working. Anyway, back to relooking with Theme Park Adventure. This movie gets a strange 8 out of 10 for me because it's the sad eulogy for the death of the theme park. And it ends up focusing on these really interesting and real stories about real people. it was so much way more focused than the previous Rilakkuma and Kaoru series it's spin-off from. And despite that though, it still has that super chill, peaceful atmosphere that I enjoyed. Cons, it's a dramatic and sad sequel to a show for babies. So, I don't know if I'm ever going to watch any more of Rilakkuma and Kaoru, but because it's claymation, I don't think we're going to see these characters again anytime soon. Because this movie had the feeling of a conclusion movie, but who knows, Rilakkuma keeps selling merch, so if there is anything else, it's probably going to take like 3 years to come out because stop motion just takes fucking forever to make. Alright, I was Moonbuster Green, and for some reason I reviewed this weird stop motion movie on Netflix. Did anyone else watch it? I watched it. Alright, thanks guys. Please subscribe. 91 people. Good night.